Is the no wars president about to have us in a war?
Time to blow it up.
Welcome to another episode of The Truth TV. I'm True Fisher, and today we're about to talk about the situation that's going on with the United States, Israel, and Iran. Yesterday, February 28, 2026, Israel and the U.S. launched major coordinated airstrikes against Iran. The attacks targeted military, nuclear, and leadership infrastructure, including the compound of the Supreme Leader in Tehran, which I think ended up killing the Supreme Leader. And Iran is basically saying they want to get their revenge. We're going to read a couple of articles, talking about this situation, and I want to read what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say about this situation because I do got something to say about her. Let's go. All right, y'all. So this is an article from Al Jazeera talking about the situation. Multiple Arab states that host U.S. assets targeted in Iran retaliation. Iran confirms targeting U.S. bases across the Middle East. Iran has targeted United States assets across the Gulf Arab states in retaliation for a huge joint attack on Iran by the U.S. and Israel, sparking fears of a regional conflagration. The Iranian government on Saturday confirms its attacks on several targets, according to the Fars news agency, including Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and the UAE, where air bases with U.S. assets are hosted. Can we blame them? But it's crazy. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed all Israeli and U.S. military targets in the Middle East have been struck by the powerful blows of Iranian missiles. Y'all pray for y'all peoples. If any of y'all peoples is out there, pray for them. If any of y'all peoples is in the army, pray for them. And any type of military, actually, pray for them. Because I heard that they got land, air, and sea going. This operation will continue relentlessly until the enemy is decisively defeated. It said all U.S. assets throughout the region are considered legitimate targets for Iran's army. It added. Iran's deputy foreign minister Hamid Ganbari told Al Jazeera that Iran has the right to defend itself and regrets any humanitarian loss caused by the current military escalation. I mean, yeah, everybody has the right to defend themselves. It always sucked to me, like war. It always sucked to me because the people that's actually having the dispute isn't the ones out there fighting. Foreign Minister Abbas Arghachi said in a letter sent to the United Nations Security Council and Secretary General Antonio Guterres that Iran would continue to exercise its right of self-defense decisively and without hesitation until the aggression ceases fully and unequivocally. Y'all, this is crazy. This is basically talking about the regional attacks, the places that was attacked. UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, transportation. So as y'all can see, this is crazy. Pray for your peoples in the military. Hell, pray for the military. That I feel like this really don't have much to do with the United States, but we find our way in these situations all too often for some reason. I just, hope that whatever this is, they figure it out quickly, and they, everybody can go home and and be with their family, because just jumping in a war like this is crazy, or being in a war like this is crazy. But I do want to show y'all what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, and I have some, some gripes about her saying what she's saying based on who she was before she left office. So yesterday, MTG, called out Trump and Vance after the strikes in Iran. She basically said it's always America last. And to that I say, she put up with this, and she was one of the biggest cheerleaders for so long, right? Until she found something that she couldn't really mess with about the man, and then the man started picking on her, and she decided to up and leave because she didn't want to keep getting picked on by Donald Trump, because she's seen firsthand how that works, because she was a part of it working. But let's read what she had to say about the situation. Marjorie Taylor Greene is accusing the Trump administration of abandoning its campaign promises by putting America last by taking military action in Iran. And that is the truth. You know, that is the honest to God truth, especially if it's something that we have no deal in. It's the truth. America is going to be force fed and gaslit all the noble reasons the American peace president and pro peace administration had to go to war once again this year, after being in power for only a year, Green said in a lengthy X post. It's always a lie, and it's always America last. But it feels like the worst betrayal this time, because it comes from the very man and the administration who we all believed was different and said no more. I'm not gonna say we all believed that he was different. No. Y'all believed that he was different. That was a y'all's belief. That wasn't everybody's belief. Green, a former staunch Trump ally, remarkably split from the president before her exit from Congress earlier this year. She had repeatedly criticized the president's focus on foreign issues, which ultimately drew Trump to revoke his endorsement and dub her Marjorie Taylor Greene. The former Congresswoman expressed skepticism about Iran being close to obtaining a nuclear weapon, arguing, "We have been spoon-fed that lie for decades, and Trump told us all that his bombing this past summer completely wiped it all out," referring to Operation Midnight Hammer. I remember that operation. I remember that bombing this past summer, and I also remember thinking, "What for?" None of this would be happening if he left us in the Iran nuclear deal, right? Like y'all wouldn't be bombing their stuff. Thousands and thousands of Americans from my generation have been killed and injured in never ending pointless foreign wars, and we said no more. But we are freeing the Iranian people. Please, there are 93 million people in Iran. Let them liberate themselves, Green wrote. And she said that because Donald Trump basically told the Iranian people to go and basically overthrow y'all's government, which to me sounds like, go overthrow y'all government and we'll come in and we'll swoop in and pick you somebody that we can control, so that we can control whatever goes on in your country. And if we can't control that person, we're going to convince you to overthrow your country again. This is a hot mess. So with everything going on in Mexico, and the situation that's been going on with Iran and Palestine, I don't I kind of agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene in the sense of, letting if liberation is the goal, let them liberate themselves. We don't need to be putting ourselves into a situation where now you have US military bases being, missiles being shot at U.S. military bases, and folks here got to worry about if they loved ones is okay. That's that's not cool, especially for something that don't have nothing to do with us. But this is something. This is just starting. This is all just yesterday. So I don't know when it might end. It could end today. Could end at the end of the week. You never know. Now, one thing that I will say that I do not like is how I feel like they are about to gaslight the hell out of people. They are about to try to gaslight people that's going to be like, well, I thought we weren't going to get ourselves in any wars with this president. You know, and Donald Trump put out a 8 minute like speech talking about the situation or why he's doing this, and it's crazy. I guess he went today to speak with Iran for whatever reason. This is just bananas. I'm about to play the full 8 minute speech for y'all to watch.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Okay, so listening to that, he keep talking about how Iran can't have, nuclear weapons, which is one thing that I do not understand because we have them. Like, are you kidding me? Why wouldn't they try to build a safeguard around their country just like we have? That doesn't make sense. If we're talking about, getting rid of nuclear weapons, How about everybody get rid of nuclear weapons? You can't just tell this country, hey, you need to get rid of your nuclear weapons because you are becoming a threat when you have them. And the whole thing about, trying to liberate the people of Iran, I guess they're liberated now. So what is the plan now at this point? We're gonna have to see how this all play out. Once again, this is just yesterday and today. I know this so far has been a lengthy video, but we just gonna have to see how this whole situation play out. But let me know your thoughts on what seems like the makings of something tragic. Let me know in the comments your thoughts and how y'all feel about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell because I will be back with another video.
The Truth TV. Subscribe, like, and comment.